Hello, this is an AirPlay screen mirror test. I'm mirroring the screen of my iPad mini 2 onto my Waveshare ePaper screen. I'm using AirPlay from my iPad, and the AirPlay is connects to the Raspberry Pi 5, which is connected to the ePaper screen. The Raspberry Pi 5 runs usual Raspbian. So what happens is this. So the screen is just shown, the AirPlay screen is just shown here on this side of the monitor, and on the left side I'm running a script that actually takes a screenshot and puts it onto the actual screen. So if we scroll, let's make it like this. Let's scroll down a little bit, maybe until here, and then I can update the paper, and this is what happens. So this is how everything is set up right now. This is a very alpha version. I also try to figure out how good the screen is. And let's first take a look on the iPad. It's it's a little bit small, but it's still quite readable. The letters are pretty good. But when we look on the ePaper screen, you see a lot of dithering. It's actually very hard, almost impossible to read. And that is just because the camera is zoomed in so much. So if you would look from a usual person's view, maybe you'd rather see this one. So I'd say we zoom in a little bit here on the iPad, get this a little bit bigger, and then we can update the screen. You also see the speed of the screen updating. I should mention that this is the fast mode for updating. This is readable actually. This is quite readable, but you can also see it is also quite big on the iPad. So usually no one reads like this. But even though it's readable, if we go very close to it, we see quite a couple dithering artifacts, like you look at the base or build. This is pretty dithered, yes. I also do a little bit in the background. I also do a little bit of image processing. You can see this. Let's just move the screen a little bit to the side. Let's update the screen again, and then you can see here on the Raspberry Pi you have this nice, what's a mountain, and the mountain just turns black. So I have a lot of contrast going on in here before I actually draw it on the screen. Okay, that should be enough so far. Before I close this video, or at least this part, I'm showing you the script that I'm using here. I'm not going to explain what I'm doing, I'm just going to show you the script, so if you're interested you can do that. There's a lot of commented out stuff, which is from things I don't use anymore. Pack for gray, that's not important. That's for the gray version. I also already say that the gray version looks much better than the fast version. But the gray version is also not fast. Here you see the same picture as before, just in the gray mode, and you see the dithering faded away. Let's wait for the focus. There's still a little bit not crisp part, but it's much easier to read. Also, when we go up here, it is actually seeable that there's file, edit, maybe tabs and help. But yeah, this is looks so much nicer. But I show you how this looks like when we actually update it. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see here. You can see when I refresh the screen. So that is what it takes to update. I changed the picture, by the way, but that's a different story. So I refresh again. I'm not doing a lot of Python stuff in the background. I think can't really say how much the Python stuff takes, but you can see in any way, you can see the flickering of the screen. Okay, and let's say this is the initial size that I had with the fast mode before. When we zoom in here, it still might be better, but still definitely no fun. Now we can basically figure out how much this needs to be zoomed in order to be readable. Just to give you an idea, this is how big it is on my screen actually. I think it's a 22-inch screen, so it's fairly big actually. Okay, this would be no fun, but it's readable. So it's difficult for you to tell because you're looking through the camera, but I look with my raw eyes. If you look at the screen on the usual distance, so to say, I think it's readable. It's no fun, but it's readable. Maybe let's go down a little bit. Somewhere we have more text Let's refresh this again. So this is how far you get with the gray version. And just for comparison, this is the quick mode again. I zoom in a little bit. And again, we have a lot of dithering here. But even though it's also readable, just not fine. I mean, just no fun. This is how the display looks after about a week or two. I'm not sure. It's from a different recording. This was the last picture of a fast refresh mode. You can see it's still dithered as the fast refresh mode does, but it's basically pretty much the same as it was already 1 or 2 weeks ago. And of course, completely unhooked from energy. In case you want to try this yourself, here are things that you need to take care of. The screen will come with this thing here, and you will get this strap with it. The strap will not be attached here. This board is a board you need to purchase separately. I personally would advise to get 2 or 3 of these boards. The first one broke immediately because the soldering on this part was not very strong. I'm aware that this is probably a manufacturing problem and I could return it, but this is not worth the cost. I just highly advise just buy 2 or 3 and then be very, very careful when you operate on those.